Greetings, friends! It's Denise again with Denise's Dancing Paintbrush. And today I've got another collage from my alphabet book, this one for the letter J. And it is called Jasper, Who Herded Hares, a Scandinavian fairy tale. You can see I've sketched it all out on a heavyweight paper, and I'm beginning by tearing and cutting little pieces of paper off of magazines. So I'll jump right in while the collage is being put together. Jasper, Who Herded Hares, a Scandinavian fairy tale. There once was a small kingdom, so small one could stand on the border to the east and see all the way to the west border from one of the towers of the king's castle. The king of this kingdom had only one child, a daughter. He didn't want to see her marry just anyone, and so he devised a series of tests for any suitors. First, they had to bring 12 of the finest pearls to ensure that the suitor was rich. Then they had to perform certain great feats of the king's devising. Many princes and merchants came bringing pearls, but they couldn't perform the great tasks. Many poor men came trying the tasks, but brought false pearls and were turned away. One day, a fisherman with 3 sons brought home 3 dozen oysters, and each one contained a fine pearl. He told his sons, Peter, Paul, and Jasper, that they should each take 12 pearls to the castle and try for the hand of the princess. Peter left first, being the oldest, with his pouch of pearls and a lunch for the trip. Along the way, he met the king of the ants, who had been battling the king of the beetles. They were losing, and so the king of the ants asked Peter for his help. Peter told them that he couldn't have been bothered to have time for such nonsense. He was about important business, and so he left them. Next, he came upon an old woman who asked what he was carrying so carefully in his pouch. Peter didn't want to tell her about the pearls, and so he lied that they were cinders to make a fire for his lunch. The old woman said, "Very well, they are cinders." And when Peter got to the castle, his bag of pearls had turned into a bag of cinders, and so he was turned away. When he got home, he didn't tell his father about the cinders. He was too ashamed. Next, it was Paul's turn. He took his bag of pearls and headed for the castle. When he met the king of the ants, he answered much the same as his brother had and went on his way. When he came to the old woman, he too didn't want to tell her what was in his pouch, and so he said he had a bag of rocks. The old woman said, "Very well, they are rocks." So when Paul got to the castle, his bag of pearls had turned into a bag of rocks, and he too was turned away. It was finally Jasper's turn. When he came upon the battle between the ants and the beetles, he decided to help the king of the ants, and of course they won. When he met the old woman, he told the truth that he had a bag of pearls for the princess. She asked him for his lunch, and thinking that he could always eat at the castle, he gave her all he had brought to eat. And as he left the old woman, she called him back and gave him a special whistle. She told him that it could bring back whatever he had lost. When Jasper arrived With 12 of the most beautiful pearls, the king was not very happy. He didn't much like the look of this would-be son-in-law, and so he devised the hardest of tasks for him to do. He put him in a room with 4 sacks of wheat, barley, oats, and rye mixed together, and told them that he had to sort them all out by the end of the day. Luckily, Jasper saw some ants in the room and asked them to help him. The king of the ants sent all of his troops to Jasper, and the grain was sorted out before the end of the day. Next, Jasper was sent to a herd of 100 hares. This would be a very hard task, but with the old woman's whistle, he was able to keep them all together. The king was not happy at this. He decided to trick Jasper. That day, a shabby-looking girl came and begged for a hare to feed her family. So Jasper agreed to give her one in exchange for a kiss. After she left with the hare, he blew on the whistle and it came back. The next day, a stout old woman in a peasant dress came to him. She also begged for a hare, so that he told her that he would give her one if she agreed to tiptoe around him, cackling like a hen. And when she left with the hare, he whistled and it came back. The next day, a fat old man in royal groom's livery came begging for a hare. Jasper agreed to give him one if he would stand on his head. When the fat old man left with the hare, Jasper whistled, and back it came. There was no denying it. Jasper herded the hares well and didn't lose a single one. For the next task, the king set out a tub and said that Jasper must fill it with undoubted truths, and only the king would be the judge of when it was full. So Jasper told of a shabby-dressed girl who came to him and kissed him, but who was really the princess. Then he said that a stout old woman in a peasant dress had cackled like a hen, but was really the queen. And then he said a fat old man came, and the king declared that the tub was full. The king decided that Jasper could marry the princess and would probably be a good king after all, if he could look after his people as well as he looked after the hares. I enjoyed doing this one, especially because I needed to do a little research. You see, the rabbit photos I had were rabbits, and hares have longer feet, longer back feet, and longer ears than regular white rabbits. Plus, they're usually brown. So I just used my rabbit photos and made the ears and the back feet longer, as best I could. And of course, I didn't put in 100 hares. I only got 4 hares in this particular illustration, but I thought it worked. As I usually do, I hid a number of pictures within my collage. If you look carefully, you can see I collaged in raspberries in the boy's shirt. There's a little dog. I think I put the little dog on one of the hares. There's a bouquet of flowers and a castle and a couple of lights, lamps, and of sorted words. I thought it was very funny that the king decided that the undoubted truths in the tub were full because he didn't want anyone to know that he had stood on his head for this boy. Very funny. You can see that the picture that says gifts there is from the front of a catalog, but it was just the right color of red for his shirt. I think I've even got a few snowflakes in there from a Christmas catalog. And the boy's arms are made mostly of a pieced together map from a National Geographic. I thought it had just the right tone of tan. So there it is. It's all finished. I hope you enjoyed this one. So many fun things to see in this particular collage. The piece of an Inca sculpture up there in that hare. And there's the little dog down here in this hare. It's all finished. I hope you enjoyed it. Do come again and see some of my other collages and watercolors, and check out my links below. Give me a thumbs up if you like this. I sure appreciate it. Bye now. See you next time.